recording already. Yeah, it's already recording. Here we go. It's recording. Hello, everybody. What's up? Hello, and welcome to the 21st.
22nd. Close.
Are you fucking kidding me? No way.
Yeah.
You're fucking kidding me. Dude. Whatever.
I mean, you were close. Let's just put it that way.
I wasn't that far off. I remember I was at one point in time I was saying that, hey man, if I'm going to be like off by like a factor of like 20%, once we start having like, you know, dozens of episodes up, that's actually going to start to add up, you know. But right now I'm only slightly off, so this is all good. Okay, so what am I doing? I'm showing. So first things we're going to do today, guys, is we're going to be taking a look at okay, well, I guess, you know what we never do, what we probably should do, is like tell people what date it is that we're kind of recording, because so it's the Friday, it's the 23rd, May 23rd.
Friday the 23rd.
Yep, 2025. And what we're doing is we're gonna, well, first thing I want to do is take a look at this video that's been making the rounds about Timothy Snyder. Well, it's not just Timothy Snyder. It's 3 Yale, or is it Yale or Stanford? Here, I don't know why I don't have the story pulled up. I should just have the story pulled up. Here we go. While that's happening, I'm going to also pull up the video here. Share. Okay, so here's the video. We're going to watch the video first, I guess. So this is going to be interesting because one of these, so these guys are all Russian speakers, quote unquote.
Give me a bit of context. I'm not familiar with these people. Who are they? And
so these guys are hardcore Russophobes, like hardcore professional Russophobes. So we have a Ukrainian language professor.
Okay.
We have a
which in and of itself is funny, but continue.
Which in and of itself says a lot, because think about this. What was the recent Douglas Murray kerfuffle with what's his face, Dave Smith, and talking about people with expertise and stuff, and then it turned out that his only expertise was like he has like a degree in English literature or something like that, right?
No,
so these guys are useful. These guys are used.
The notion of being a professor in the Ukrainian language is humorous to me. But anyway, continue.
Well, all right. Well, I mean, you gotta. Somebody's gotta actually speak it. I'm joking. I'm joking. That's rude to say. Sorry to our Ukrainian fans if we have any, which I highly doubt. But anyway, so what is this? This is freaking well, okay, let's watch the video. So hey, wait, let's see what the description will say. Maybe it'll tell us this whole description thing. All right, Marcy Shore Marcy Shore and Timothy Snyder. So those are the two that Yale, there it is. Okay, there it is. All professors at Yale, experts in this is hilarious, dude. Expert in authoritarianism. What does that even mean? What do you mean expert in authoritarianism?
How do you become explain to me how you become an expert in authoritarianism?
I feel like it's something that you just assert. You know, and I love this. I'm glad that I read this, because one of the things that, one of the reasons why I wanted to go watch this video. Fortunately, this one's hella short because we have a bad track record with videos that are like 30 minutes or longer. Is look at this. This is hilarious. Because one of the things that the Ukrainian language professor lady says, which she's a Ukrainian language professor, which means that like her primary language is probably Russian. I'm being like, I'm half joking, but she probably speaks Russian very well, right? And she tries to say that there's a word in the Russian language that you can't translate into the English language. And you can easily translate the word in the English language, because we totally can see what this is. it doesn't have to even be a word in any language. You read that and you're like, how does one become an expert in fucking authoritarianism? What does that even mean? How do you, like, does that mean that you are an authoritarian? Does that mean that you have decades of authoritarian rule experience, that you've been bossing people around in a third world
I don't
country?
know, but all I know is I just noticed that 2 of them are moving to Toronto, and it's like, fuck, why?
Yeah,
Why?
haha. You guess what you guys now have to deal with these guys. But I mean, hey, you know what? These guys are freaking more Canadian than American anyway. Let's go. Yeah.
Okay, stop right
Session.
away. Stop. Go back.
What?
Okay.
The music?
No, the guys. Like right off the bat, I've never seen these people. I don't know what they're all about. But my God, when the woman is the most masculine seeming person, you know you're in for a treat. So thank you.
Well,
The
hey, you
guy
know
on the
what?
left there, he's not a man. I can just tell he's not a man. There's something very effeminate and fruity about him, and I haven't even seen him say one word. Okay, continue.
This is hilarious, dude. You know, I was thinking there's a YouTuber and radio talk show host I sometimes watch. He's named Garland Nixon. And he says, one thing that he says is like, I hate freaking modern movies. What is this? Like, why is it that every movie has to have a lesson? The woman has to be masculine, the man has to be effeminate. Like, it has to somehow have some kind of empowering message. Like, what if I just want to watch like werewolves and vampires fight? Like, why does it have to be? Why does it have to be like that? Well, maybe it has to be like that because in real life, this is what these people look like. In real life, you know, whatever, exactly what you were saying. These Yale professors study authoritarianism or fascism.
I'm a historian of totalitarianism.
I look at fascist rhetoric.
I've been thinking about.
Oh yeah,
I told
dude, he's
ya.
so fruity. He's so fruity. Okay, yeah, man.
I called it.
Historian of
It's funny. We only heard him say one sentence.
totalitarianism.
I don't even know who this guy is.
I look
I'm like,
at-
yep.
Fascist rhetoric.
I've been thinking about the sources of the worst kinds of history for a quarter of a century.
Experts
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
say that-
It's Timothy Snyder is basically he's like oh man. So he is, how do I even begin to describe this guy? Think about it this way. He's a historian, a very popular historian, very a very in-demand cited historian, right? Obviously it's taught at Yale, right?
He's
And
got the body and the wardrobe of a woman in menopause. But
Well,
okay.
he's a hardcore Russophobe. I think he's British, but he's a hard body Russophobe. And so his he is totally 100% involved in the project to try to rewrite history and
What is
propel
that? Is he wearing a tunic? Like, what is that? Okay, sorry, I don't.
I
mean
bet
to
it fucking
pick on
costs
Jordan.
more than us, like our paychecks, though. I don't know what the hell it is. I would never wear that, but dang, dude, like you
This
wearing
is a
that.
quality shirt. Speak for yourself.
Okay. I'm just saying his shirt. I don't know. Gets overpaid to do all this kind of crap. So yeah, basically, and basically he's involved in trying to rewrite World War II. And I don't know if you've heard about what's it called? The twin genocide rhetoric, or the twin. Basically, there's an alternative history narrative that's been trying to get rolled out, which is like popular in Ukraine and obviously in Latvia and Estonia, those Chihuahua states. You can see it in like the films and stuff about, yeah, the Nazis were bad, but the Soviets were worse. And so this guy's one of the guys that he will get cited for that stuff because he'll say all kinds of stuff. And there's another historian who's not famous and would never become famous because he's totally not like this guy, named Grover Furr, who wrote a book. So Tim Snyder wrote this book called Bloodlands, trying to basically, you can imagine the Bloodlands, right? How bad the Soviet Union is to the people that live on the land, right? And spilled their blood on the land and stuff. And he basically lies about the Holodomor myth, which we've talked about dozens of times. The lie that, Stalin, the Soviets were somehow trying to commit some kind of a genocide by using hunger in Ukraine, stuff like this, right? So he's big on propelling those narratives, and what he says like the other historian, like for example, Grover Furr, right, who wrote Blood Lies, debunking his book, he goes by fact. There's like 2 or 3 times the length of this guy's book, just because he has so many citations and stuff. And even though his book's been debunked, nobody cares, right? He's still, you will always see him constantly get quoted, constantly get cited. Anything he writes, he's always like considered a big Russia expert, but he's a Russophobe. Russia hawk. He's more. I should say Russophobe. I should say Russia hawk.
Okay, let's see. This guy's a classic.
Fascist rhetoric.
I've been thinking about the sources of the worst kinds of history for a quarter of a century.
Experts say the constitutional crisis is here now.
The Trump
It doesn't sound British, so I don't know exactly.
administration deporting hundreds of men without a trial.
A massive purge at the FBI to make people afraid of speaking out against him.
They're so paranoid of Trump. They're so scared. They're moving abroad.
I'm leaving to the University of Toronto because I want to do my work without
There's a
the
huge
fear
gay
to the university.
population here.
Professor of philosophy.
You're coming here for the ass, buddy. You're coming here for the ass. That's why you're coming here. You heard about the huge queer community here in Toronto.
I see. He's not a professor of philosophy. He's a professor of philosophy.
He's a professor of fudge packing. Okay, continue.
I don't know. I like professor of philosophy.
I'm really angry today. Like, I've had a shitty week, and
I know, dude.
Putting it aside, if by some miracle you work for me and you happen to come across this video, please know that I hate you all, and I'd fire you if HR would let me. Okay, continue.
Of Toronto because I want to do my work without the fear that I will be punished for my words.
The lesson of 1933 is you get out sooner rather than later.
I've spent a lot of time in the last decade trying to prepare people if Trump were elected once, let alone twice.
He's been preparing us. He's been looking out for society, man.
Trump. But if people are going to leave the United States or leave American universities, there are reasons for that.
It's pompous, pretentious. This is number 2. So first, first of all, they assert that they are experts in totalitarianism, authoritarianism, fascism. I'm a professor that studies the worst kinds of whatever. You're a dude that studies the Soviet Union and rewrites history to paint it in a bad light. I don't know about the other people. And the other chick, she's Ukrainian language professor. Like, I don't know what anybody would expect. Like, their countries are in a war. I mean, but anyway, so that's strike 1. Strike 2 was what they just said here. Listen, he's like, where they are, oh, dude, it just grinds my friggin' gears. They are looking out for society, Nanya. See, the problem is, just back to that Douglas Murray thing, I guess, we were just talking about. The problem is, people like you and I, we need a guiding, helping hand, and the guiding, helping hand we need is.
But if people are going to leave the United States, you can definitely.
Where is he?
I've done not last decade trying
Sooner rather.
Look what happened. Is this crazy?
I did not flee Trump. But if people are going to leave the United States or leave American universities, there are reasons for that. One thing you can definitely learn from Russians
is that it's essential.
This guy is going to be the dude that is going to be your night watchman looking out for society. I'm sure if you are those parents, which I wonder how overblown this phenomena is, but such as it exists and such as they exist. If you're one of those people that probably takes their kids to drag time story hour, you're like, yeah, this guy is a perfect candidate for making sure that society is totally running smoothly and running in the right direction. By the way, you got kicked out. Like, it was like, you know what it is? Like, yeah, you're leaving. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. It's a free country. We're so glad that you're free to leave. Take them in Toronto, man.
To set up.
They look like they belong there more anyway. Tim Snyder for sure.
Centers of resistance in places of relative safety.
We want to make sure that if there is a political crisis in the U.S., that Americans are organized.
We've just gotten started. You haven't even seen anything yet. It's all just kicking in.
My colleagues and friends,
a point that you usually make. Let me make it right here. You just hear the music and the intense music, like the.
They were walking around and saying, we have checks and balances, so let's inhale, checks and balances, exhale, checks and balances. And I thought, my God, we're like people on the Titanic saying our ship can't sink. We've got the best ship, we've got the strongest ship, we've got the biggest ship, our ship can't sink. And what you know as a historian is that there is no such thing as a ship that can't sink.
Right, but what is she talking about? Is she comparing the United States to the Titanic? Is that the connection? I think
Well,
it is.
the connection is Donald Trump. What the whole video is, the connection is fascism is here. We're experts in fascism, and we're leaving.
I'm not clear why we're watching this yet. Keep going, because I'm not really sure what their point is.
Okay,
why
well,
the Times would roll this out, other than to like make people afraid of something.
Well,
like it's a propaganda hit piece. But
okay, so yeah, it's definitely
there's no facts, there's no substance. It's just three people so
it's
far.
not gonna have it's not gonna have
about-
substance. They're just Trump bashing, and they're going to well, we'll get to the little bit of substance they have later.
Just people
but
pearl clutching for like okay,
maybe hey, here's what it is. Maybe in order for them to be accepted in Canada, they really want to just double down and really make sure that they sound like Justin Trudeau.
Golden age of
usually
America.
what we do, if you immigrate here, first thing we do is we fuck you in the ass. But Buddy might like that, so yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm not Canadian.
Yeah.
Is that like a legal procedure?
It is now. Trudeau put it in about 10 years ago. He wants to turn every male in Canada, at the very least, bisexual. Like, he doesn't want us reproducing. He doesn't want us, having normal sex. He wants us to have like this weird fucking Trudeau globalist sex, I think. So yeah, about 10 years ago, if you immigrate here, as soon as you get off the plane, we fuck you in the ass. We don't tell you that because we want to fuck you in the ass, so we want more immigrants. But yeah, you're in for a surprise when you get here.
So like, do they get a complimentary dildo afterwards to take home with them?
No reach around. Like reach around.
No reach around. No lube.
No reach around. No.
Okay.
No lube. Depends. If you come from a white country, you get lube. If you're from a non-white country, we're raw dogging you all day.
Canadians are more hardcore than we think here in the United States. Let me tell you that. I did not.
We give you the illusion that we're all nice, but no, we just want to fuck you all in the ass.
Well, you see, that's because people haven't met you. You're like a Canadian that sticks out. You're like a atypical of the typical Canadian. What is it? A stereotype, Maybe that's like that stereotype belongs in an age where Canada actually was prosperous, So like,
you don't have to worry about me. They're gonna assassinate me sooner than later because I just say too much and I don't like the anal sex. So,
dude,
so yeah, I'm sure I'm on a list.
Yeah, dude, I can't
enjoy me while you can.
I feel like they don't have to. They don't even have to do that, dude. They don't have to do that. They just make sure that whatever. Let's go. Let's finish up. The Titanic.
Golden age of America has only just.
And she's a freaking shipwright as well, I guess. What do you call a person that builds ships?
Begun.
America has long had an exceptionalist narrative. Fascism can happen elsewhere, but not here.
What? I think that maybe not most, a lot of Americans think that America is the best bastion of fascism in modern times, like the Ukrainians.
Well, that's what he's saying, though. He's saying that America.
He's saying now, but he's saying it completely differently. I'm saying we've been that since the unipolar moment. Like, we've been funding Ukrainian Nazis, we've been funding terrorists, we've been completely trying to do all kinds of shiesty shit all over the world, all kinds of cheeky breeky. So, like, I mean, for these guys to be like, you know what, I think I perceive fascism now. Like, I thought you were an expert in fascism. What kind of an expert are you?
No, but
talking about American exception.
What these guys are saying is Americans don't think that fascism can happen here. But what they're saying is, but Donald Trump is fascist. That's their message, is what they're trying to say.
Yeah, 100%. They're basically, is this threat inflation? Are they trying, like you were asking, are they trying to scare people? And yeah, now I'm starting to wonder a little bit. Is this threat inflation? Okay, let's continue.
Fascism can happen elsewhere, but not here.
But talking about American exceptionalism is basically a way to get people to fall into line. If you
Look
think
at
that there's
that
this thing
shirt.
out there called
You just can't get over
America,
I can't.
and
Like,
it's exceptional.
whoever this Timothy Snyder
That
guy
means
is,
that-
Timothy, if you happen to come across this video, please go get yourself on testosterone
shirt.
testosterone replacement therapy
Oh man.
as a start.
Oh
And I
my
think
gosh.
if you do number one, your wardrobe will sort itself out, because that thing, yeah, I don't know. I continue. Sorry,
You
guys,
don't have
I'm
to
really
do
angry
anything.
today. So
That is
I
obviously on one.
gotta get this vitriol out of my system. And poor
No, dude.
Mr.
But
Schneider is,
hey, man, Timothy Snyder deserves it though. This guy's like, he's such a snob, and you can tell just even from look, the way he looked. I forgot where he was from. I thought he was British. I actually read this guy. I just forgot. But just from the way he looked, he kind of got that Oxford kind of vibe going on. You know, like he's trying to go for it. You know, like trying to look like the freaking.
well, it's kind of sad because
Douglas
the other
Murray.
guy is as gay as a picnic basket. That's clear. This guy is actually straight, but he's
just a
become
bitch.
so emasculated.
He's straight. He's
over
just
the
a
course
bitch.
of his life that it's just as well he be gay, because he's no longer like manly in any way. So he's just, I don't know. I got no time for people like this. Zero time.
Dude, I don't even care
anymore.
how you are. It doesn't matter to me if you're effeminate, if you dress differently than my taste. But the bottom line is, like, actually the work, the damage this guy does damage. Like, he poisons the minds of aspiring geopolitics and diplomacy students, you know. So
well, no, and to be clear, right? Like, if you're just your run-of-the-mill garden variety queer, like Keir Starmer, and you're off making out with a bunch of Ukrainian models and stuff, but you're not hurting anyone, I don't care. But a guy like this, he's going to talk down to me, and he's going to tell me how to think. And once he starts telling me how to think, that's when I'm going to unload on him with everything I have, because I don't operate that way. He needs to be, if he's going to be this effeminate gay man, be more like Keir Starmer, the biggest effeminate gay man there is. Continue.
Keir Starmer, he's got a different image thing going. This guy's definitely got some image thing going on though, for sure.
I know. I just take a
Whatever's
shot at Keir
happening.
Starmer because I like making fun of Keir Starmer.
Yeah. Well, speaking of people who deserve it, yeah, Keir Starmer deserves it.
Must be freedom. And so that anything, whatever is happening, it must be freedom. Don't
Wait, what the fuck?
And it's fall into line. If you think that there's this thing out there called America and it's exceptional, that means that you don't have to do anything. Whatever is happening, it must be freedom. And so then what your definition of freedom is just gets narrowed and narrowed and narrowed and narrowed. And soon you're using the word freedom, but what you're talking about is authoritarianism.
What?
Oh, kind of like what's happening in Hungary, you mean?
No, but
kind of like
I don't understand what point he's trying to make.
He's saying that as you, if you assert that America is freedom, then you're going to continue to assert, and you continue to assert that it is freedom as your rights get taken away. Your rights will just continue to get taken away, and you're just going to redefine what freedom is.
Sure, I get that, but he's also, like, he's asserting that people are stupid enough to let that happen, and maybe they are.
Right? They actually are.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Just take a look at COVID. Like,
okay.
I think that COVID was a good litmus test to see like,
Okay.
hey,
Timothy
can
Snyder,
you panic then?
he has a
Can you
point.
like, yeah.
I'll
Can
give
you?
him that point then.
But okay, Neil, let's continue.
Toni Morrison warned us.
The descent into a final solution is not a jump. It's one step. And then another. And then another.
Dun, dun.
We are seeing those steps.
Yeah, I still don't know what to think about that. Like, it was that a fascist salute? Was that not? I guess the argument is, oh no, it's this other weird salute that some other weirdo that was like an American nationalist invented and tried to get them to adopt, and it never saw that widespread adoption.
I'm pretty sure it was a Roman salute. I have to be honest with you, like the
right.
Roman salute.
Well, before then, that's the question: is it that salute? Because I think the other one, if I'm not mistaken, this is what I read. You never know. It's supposed to be like this or something, where it's actually a little bit to the side. But if he goes out there a little bit, it's like, well, you can kind of see that he's trying to do that. It's not so much in this. Let me see. Can I find a? Go ahead.
We're halfway through this video, right? And if the only thing that they have is a clip of Elon Musk, even if he was doing a Nazi salute, like if that's the evidence that they have that America is now fascist, bit of a leap, but continue.
Well,
we are seeing those steps
accelerated
right now.
There are some words in Russian in particular that I feel help us to understand what's happening in the United States, because we now have those phenomena. Произвол.
Oh, praiseful. Hey, okay, let's hear what her definition is.
It's the idea that the powers that be can do anything they want to you, and you have no recourse.
If she's a professor of the Russian language, she knows she's misrepresenting that word, or the Ukrainian language. You have to know. You must know, because what that actually means, praiseful, is it means to disregard what's lawful and to take it upon yourself to do whatever it is that you want. So like a breaking and entering, kind of like a thief, somebody that was just going to break in and steal something, right? And it turns into a robbery because the owner happened to be there or something. So if in that situation, if you're like, I don't have to apologize for anything, I do what I want, nobody can stop me, right? If you have that kind of brazen and bold-faced attitude, that is called вести себя произвольно. So she's trying to say that no. This is a special and unique word where arbitrariness associated with abuse of power. No. It's not like the power that your power is arbitrary and it's illegitimate as the state. No. You're disregarding all this stuff anyway. So she's lying there. And first of all, and second of all, what was the thing? So number one, they are looking out for society. Who the hell put you in charge of society? That is вести себя произвольно right there. You're just going to appoint yourself arbiter of freaking society and where we should be going. To mention, go ahead.
I think all she's trying to do here, what she's really just trying to do here, is she's trying to make the connection that fascist authoritarian regimes are places like Russia. So what she's saying is, over there in that backwater of a country, Russia, that authoritarian regime, they have a special word that's only in Russian. Well, yeah, most Russian words are in Russian. They have a special Russian word. The authoritarianism in Russia is so pronounced They even have their own words for it. That's what she's trying to say. She's making the connection to authoritarianism and Russian. But the thing about it is, we've got those words in English too. She doesn't like, we've got the very same words in English. They're only in English, right? So
you're right. She's trying to say that there's something uniquely fascist inherently with Russia and Russians. Even the language itself, that's crazy to think about. And you know what? If that's what she's doing, she's playing off the ignorance of people, because I think anybody who's bilingual knows that
but
there's a lot of things.
But clear, like how many people reading this or watching this, New York Times viewers,
Barry Weisses of the world, right?
Like nobody understands Russian. You kidding me?
She's playing that exactly. So she's just freaking doing that. She gets to assert that. She gets to say that. It takes somebody like me to actually freaking notice it and say that I see what you're doing there. That's BS. And I think that I first saw this clip watching some Russian nightly news, and like even they didn't really understand. They're like, it's kind of confusing. Like they didn't even understand what was going on. And I think maybe you're right. Maybe like even I didn't understand totally exactly all the different angles of the propaganda that this is. This is a pretty complicated piece of propaganda after all. Let's continue.
Because why else is she on this panel, right? Like she's a Russian expert. It's a whole thing about Donald Trump. Has nothing to do with Russia. They inserted her in for these very reasons.
Why are they saying Donald Trump and Russia in the same sentence? Like, why is it? Are they trying to be like, he's buddies with Putin? Maybe it's one of those things like stop him from making a deal with the freaking. Okay.
Well, they're playing to their base. Right? So,
they're playing. Sorry, what?
They're playing to their base. Anybody who's reading New York Times, chances are you're 70 plus. Chances are you hate Russians because we talked about this before. You're so mentally broken from years of dodging under your school desk from nuclear warheads. So they're playing to their base. Right?
So if you graduated from Yale and Timothy Snyder was your teacher, he taught you, he basically brainwashed you and lied to you and completely untaught you and taught you a fake version of history. So you have a completely weird thing bouncing around in your head. And then you're going to come out of Yale and you're going to become an advisor to senators. You're going to be working for like political campaign offices and stuff like this, right? So like these people, or you're like, think about this. This is Yale, right? Isn't that where freaking Bush graduated from, right? So people, and one of the things that they'll do in these like Ivy League, Harvard type universities is they'll like look at the graduates and they'll be like, you guys are the elite. You guys are the future senators. You guys are the future presidents, the future CEOs, the future blah, 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 right? Entrepreneurs, all these things. Why? Because they like those people that like that elite, it matters. Excuse me. That elite, it matters even if it's not popular. Like that, a lot of policies in the United States that happen are not popular, and it's like that debate: is all politics local, or is there no such thing as local politics and all politics is actually geopolitics? It's like that debate. But anyways, continue.
Vol. It's the idea that the powers that be can do anything they want to you, and you have no recourse. This not knowing who is next.
Yeah, because somebody comes at you with a gun and they're completely bold-faced and brazenly doing stuff, and you can't do anything about it. By the way, we do this in America too. If somebody pulls off some bullshit legally, something gets you in trouble, drags you through the mud, you have to go through a decade of legal fees and constant stuff, only to just prove your innocence for stuff. That's praisable too, I would say. Like you're imposing yourself and you're saying letter of the law or spirit of the law be damned. I'm going to use the letter of the law to my advantage as a weapon. I think I'm taking that upon myself. So yeah, I'd say that's
next creates a state of paralysis in society.
Yeah, like in Ukraine.
Student whose visa was removed because she co-authored an article in the Tufts student newspaper.
That's fair. She shouldn't have
I
been
thought,
detained.
Yeah,
what would I do if
that's a fair
guys
one.
in masks tried to grab my student? Would I scream? Would I run away? Would I try to pull the mask off? Would I try to videotape the scene? Would I try to pull the guys off of her? Maybe I would get scared and run
You would try to make it into a social media spectacle.
away. The truth is, I don't know. Not knowing terrified me.
It's a deliberate act of terror. It's not necessary. It's just being.
I don't think it's a deliberate act of terror. I think it's or maybe maybe it is. You think it is? You think it's like a little bit of a sending a message, like
Well, I
behave?
mean, I think it's a massive overreach. I don't think they should have done it, but it's not my country, so what am I saying?
Yeah, well, I think that just Trump is hardcore pro-Israel, and this is not the treaty we talking about.
So, like, when they talk about fascism on campuses and stuff, they do have a point, right? Like, this shit should not be happening on campuses. Protests should not be broken up on campuses.
Silence and broken up, and yeah,
like I absolutely agree that none of that should happen. Trump should get his fucking stupid head and face out of academia and how they're operating things.
I don't think he's the one that's doing it. I think that what's happening is somebody comes to him and goes like, these guys right here. And he's just like, what are they, from Turkey or whatever, right? It was somebody's pet project. Somebody wanted it to happen, and Trump didn't really know or care about it that much. If he knew that would have been a media debacle, I don't think he would have cared. I don't think he would have messed with it. But it's just because it's pro-Israel. It's probably pro-Israel people talking to him. And I don't know if it's him that's sending the message or if it's them that's sending the message of like, do not stick your neck out. People from Turkey, people from Arab countries that are on a visa in the United States. You don't understand the power of I don't know if this is the power of the Israel lobby, or you don't understand Trump's dedication to the Zionist project or something, right? I don't know.
To create a spirit of us and them.
Продажность. It's a word in Russian for corruption, but it's larger than corruption. It refers to a kind of existential state in which not only everything, but everyone can be bought or sold.
Продажность just means saleability.
Right.
Like,
okay.
It's like how, like maybe it's like a state where everything is for sale. You could say like that kind of state of corruption where even petty corruption, maybe you can make that kind of argument, maybe. Sure. There's no way you can say, there's no way you can explain the word продажность into English. Like, come on. Продать means to sell. Продажность is, like you could already get, your gears can already go. This was not complicated.
Critics are calling this a quid pro quo deal between Adams and President Trump.
I'm committed to buying and owning gas.
He made $2.5 billion today, and he made 900 million.
There's an expression in Polish. I found myself at the very bottom, and then I heard knocking from below. In Russian, that gets abbreviated to there is no bottom.
They say that in Russian too. The knocking from below. But yeah, "на не существует" just means the bottom seems to be non-existent. Like it's a freaking black hole. Just when you thought anything could get worse, there is no bottom to this. There is no end to this mess. That is definitely not something you can't. You trying to pull this. My expertise in Polish, Russian, and Ukrainian allows me to make these really interesting points. Bullshit, dude. Bullshit.
We cannot allow a handful of communist radical left judges to obstruct the enforcement of our laws.
What starts to matter is not what is concealed, but what has been normalized. There's no limit to the depravity.
President Trump did not rule out the possibility of a third term.
And the sadism.
The White House released this video titled...
I think he did, yeah. Wait, when did this come out? May 18th. So, okay. I mean, this is, but it's still, it was already known. It was like, so.
SMR, illegal.
Yeah, dude, it's that. There you go. It's just that. Is it threat inflation? I don't know, man. Is it threat inflation, or are they just really so paranoid about Trump? Or maybe they just hate him.
Alien deportation flight.
And the cruelty that we are watching now play
I don't know, dude. Definitely, she's huffing her own propaganda for sure.
out in real time.
This facility is one of the tools in our toolkit that we will use.
You have to continually ask yourself.
I know, dude. That looks like a freaking prison where people, or like a detainment facility of some kind, where people have to be detained. Well, that I feel like you could find that everywhere in the world, every single freaking country.
I just don't understand why they're being detained. That's what I don't understand. Like, why detain them?
Well, I think they're implying that this is the cruel treatment that Trump is imposing upon these people, as if, first of all, we didn't already know that Biden imposed even more cruel treatment.
I get it, but as a matter of like process, right? Usually, if you get deported, you just get deported. Like a buddy of mine got deported. Where was it? I think he was in Ireland or England, one of the two.
Well, that's like containment, right? It's not like deportation. That's like supposed to be on the border containment or something facilities, whatever they call them.
Yeah, no, but he got deported.
Okay.
Back to Canada for some sort of paperwork thing, whatever it was. I don't even remember now. But he was gone that day. Like they don't mess around. It's like, we're taking you, we're putting you on a plane, and we're flying you to, wherever we're going to fly you to in Canada. And that was it. Like, it wasn't any of this big, long, drawn out process or anything like that. Now, I understand that there could be different visa types and different whatevers. But my understanding is these people are all illegal. Like, they have the majority of them are illegal, right? The illegal ones.
Well, I think they are all. I think they're all illegal.
No, I think. Well, wasn't the one guy that they keep talking about, the guy from New Jersey who apparently was a wife beater?
Oh, that's right. That guy. So I don't even know what the hell was up with that story, dude. I look at that and I was like, this is some politicized freaking BS. If this is important, I'll get the non-politicized version later. And it was not important because I didn't get it later.
I don't recall if he was
MS-13, dude, right?
And they claimed that he was MS-13, but I don't think he's illegal. Like, wasn't he legally here on some sort of thing, or am I mixing that up with some other case?
I can't tell you, dude.
The point is, like, if they're all straight up, hey, you crossed the border, we caught you, you're illegal. Nah, put them on a plane. Put them back to their home country. That's the process. They don't need to stay in some jail for an indeterminate amount of period. Throw them back to their home country. Let them deal with them. That's how it works. That's how, deportation works in every other country. I don't understand this whole thing.
Well, I think there's more to the deportation issue than meets the eye. Something more than I really don't understand all of it. Like, okay, I get it that we're the reason that these people are running away from their countries in the first place because we went in there and made sure that they grew cocaine instead of corn or potatoes or whatever, and like people are hungry and they don't want to be like working for the cartels and stuff. Okay, that's part of it.
But I think her argument is we're becoming more and more fascist because we're detaining these illegal immigrants in these hellscape prisons. That's her argument.
No, dude, they are at this point in time. All their arguments are.
I agree with her. Deport them all back to their home countries. Bypass the prison altogether. Put them on a fucking plane. Call it a day.
Look at what their arguments have been, dude. Let's see. We're 5 minutes in. Okay, so they've had all kinds of bullshit argument. Like, first of all, their first argument is an argument from expertise. Like, you have to trust me. I've studied fascism my whole life, and what I'm saying, bruh, that's fascism. Next, fascism. He goes again on his freaking thing. Then this guy, of course, Timothy Snyder says, yeah, fascism can happen here. It's not, it's, blah, blah, blah. Okay, anyway. And then here she goes, completely misleads everybody, completely full of shit. She must know. Don't tell me my Russian is better than hers. And She lies about these words. So far, this is what they have in the way of quote unquote evidence. That's not evidence at all. This is nothing at all.
It's a word.
Okay, all that it's been so far is anything that you can grab and throw at Trump. Anything. What's that old adage? You can't throw shit at somebody without getting your hands dirty. That's what this feels like to me, though. You're doing everything you can. You're concerned about the Palestinian issue. What? That's unusual for me from Timothy Snyder. What? I mean, I guess I don't know what his position on that is. I shouldn't act like I don't know. Maybe he's got a more nuanced position than that. I just kind of assume he didn't, but I don't know. You grab anything you can and you fling it at Trump. And what are they doing? How are they flinging it at Trump? How are they doing it? They're flinging it at him in such a way as to show him as like a threatening, creeping fascism in America is no longer creeping. It's already here. The music is threatening and creepy like that. The whole entire reason and point of having this video is because they don't have that much in the way of like, and maybe even if they did have stuff that they could maybe use that they would think is convincing, the whole point of this video is to do this whole, we are leaving. We know what's up. Like, we're the smart people and we're backing out of this. Kind of like you should de-invest from there because Donald Trump. So like they've just thrown anything they could fling at him. And in the process, they've misled people. They've looked like clowns, which is why they say you can't not fling shit without looking like people. You've said that we're two Joe Schmoes sitting around going like, you claim to be an expert in authoritarianism. What does that even freaking mean? Like, wait, where do you get a degree in authoritarianism? You know, like, even we can start like laughing at the veneer of the glossy like officialness in like of the bullshit that's lying beneath it, which is it's nothing. Even if you discount the fact that she's misleading people, you're basing this whole thing on trust me, bro. That's really what it all is.
I wouldn't say that they're misleading people. Like, there's nothing that they're saying that, is incorrect.
No, you said they were misleading. You said that they were misleading them about fascism in America. So,
well, hold on. Let me finish. When they say that, for example, they shouldn't be deporting or detaining these people, I agree. When they say that, they shouldn't be rounding up students who are protesting peacefully, I agree. When they say that they shouldn't be rounding up green card holders for writing an op-ed in a school paper, I agree. Shouldn't be doing that. So if you want to make the argument that those things are leading us to become more and more fascist, I agree with that too. I think we all are. I think all democracies in the West are becoming more and more fascist because they have to, because they need to cling on to power, and they realize that the whole, everybody has values. Like, nobody's buying that anymore. You're not going to buy into that stuff when you can't afford food. So they need to become more and more tight-fisted as our living standards decline. You're going to see more and more of this stuff. So if they're making these arguments that we are becoming more fascist, I entirely agree. If they're making the argument we're becoming more fascist because of Donald Trump, well, that's a bit of a leap, because this was all going on before with Joe Biden. And actually, it's been going on now for, 20 plus years. So ever since the Patriot Act, really, when you think about it, and they've been eroding American liberties.
You made my point. You made my point better than I could. But what they're upset about is not the Patriot Act eroding your liberties.
Right, right. They're upset. Like, the reason for this video is a Trump hit piece, when really it should be a hit piece on the erosion of democracy, right? I'd buy that argument, but I'm not buying that it's because of Trump, I guess is my point.
Yeah, I'm just reading over this.
In Russian, that gets abbreviated to "there is no bottom."
we cannot allow a handful of communist radical left judges to obstruct the enforcement of our laws.
What starts to matter is not what is concealed, but what has been normalized. There's no limit to the depravity.
President Trump did not rule out the possibility of a third term.
And the sadism.
The White House released this video titled ASMR, Illegal Alien Deportation Flight.
And the cruelty that we are watching now play out in real time.
This facility is one of the tools in our toolkit that we will use.
You have to continually ask yourself the question, is this okay?
No.
Is there a line I wouldn't cross? Is there something I would not do?
People say, oh, the Democrats should be doing more. They should be fixing things. But if you want the Democrats to do things, you have to create the platform for them. You have to create the spectacle, the pageantry, the positive energy, the physical place where they can
no, that was all created.
you.
It was called an election and they got rejected. But anyway, it has nothing to do with the Democrats or the Republicans. It has to do with the deep state and the owners of the country.
Is he upset that they didn't plug Kamala harder?
Yes. These guys are still playing the Democrat-Republican game, and they haven't gotten the memo that none of that matters, really, because of the very reasons that they're talking about.
No, these guys have to be ones. These people have to be either like in the loop, like they know, or they're professional paid idiots that are paid to not know. That's why they're useful, because they believe their own BS. We've talked about this before too.
Yes, and they drank the Democrat Kool-Aid, but they don't realize that had Harris won the election, all of this would still be happening.
Yeah,
they were shutting down campuses back when Biden was president. You kidding me? So it's not, and that's what I'm saying. It's not
a right
thing. It's not a Republican thing. It's a deep state control thing.
Yeah, another theme of our show, another constant theme. It's not left versus right, guys. That the paradigm is old and outdated. It is no longer relevant. The new paradigm is a pro-establishment.
Rich versus not rich. That's the paradigm now.
Okay, well, you can think of it in terms of class too, I guess. Yeah.
That's all it is now. It's all class now. You've got the uber wealthy, and then you've got everybody else. And if we don't fight back violently, if needed, we're just going to become a bunch of serfs. Well, I mean, this is how it used to be, right? You had a bunch of serfs and a bunch of lords and shit like that. That's what they want to get back to. So, like I said,
I always say that, dude.
When the revolution starts, I don't
know about the revolution starting and everything, but I always say this, dude. They don't mind freaking living in dark ages, riding around on horses, getting their water brought to them by hand by servants from the river. They don't care about that stuff. It's all about maintaining your place in society. But anyway, we're almost done.
Poland recently went through a shift towards authoritarianism. Unlike in Russia, unlike in Hungary, the media remained a place in Poland where you could criticize the regime. And as a result, democracy returned.
Translation. After Poland started making some moves that we did not like, because we still had our leg in the country through our media and our NGOs and our embassies and all that stuff, we were able to wrestle control of the government away from the more nationalistic to the more still nationalist but hardcore pro-EU.
Well, the funny thing about it is they're using Poland as an example. Okay. If you think that Poland is uber democratic, you can think that, I guess, buddy.
That's the hypocrisy.
We're done. Of Poland is that our democratic institutions, the media, the university, and the courts are essential.
See, that's what they're trying to control: media, university, courts. What do they do to Georgescu? Using the courts, they got rid of him. What do they do to what do they try to do to Donald Trump? They try to do through the media. Maidan was stirred up through the media, right?
Yeah. They don't talk anything about that. I mean, don't let those facts get in the way. They don't even report on what's going on in Romania, right?
Right. Or Hungary, right? The whole situation with you in Hungary but this is just so crazy, right? So like these guys, this is being fucking acting like that, right? This is being that way because look, he's telling you we need to control the media, university, and court system in your country. We were able to regain control over Poland because we had that control over their thing. Like, notice that these people that are so apparently really interested in having a free press, right? Because that's what he's saying, right? He's saying, how do you say, democratic institutions,
media,
right? Ukraine got rid of all of their opposition media, famously, right? Everybody knows this. It's like a famous thing that happened. Ukraine got rid of all of their opposition media, all the Russian language media, and where are these guys? Where's their outcry about freedom of the press? It's nowhere to be seen, because what do they mean by freedom of the press? By freedom of the press, they need freedom for us to influence. So at that point in time, you must know.
I think we're in agreement. These are just operatives for the Dems. So
yeah. So this is the whole video. Let's just really finish it off.
When you're constantly going over in your head.
Wait.
You know you're living in a fascist society when you're constantly going over in your head the reasons why you're safe. What we want is a country where none of us have to feel that way.
Dang, dude, I did not expect for 6 minutes to take us an entire hour. But
that was brutal.
Yeah. Well, it was tough to watch for sure, but experts in fascism. So really quick before we move on, I just still want to show this as well. Where is it? Experts in fascism. No, not that one. Here it is. So yeah, you were just wondering what is it that they were trying to do? Like, what's the message here? This is the message here. Look, the message is, right. Give me back my freaking here. Messages, get out sooner rather than later. Yale professors flee U.S. over fascism concerns. We're like people on the Titanic saying our ship can't sink, Professor Marcy Shore said. Yale professors Marcy Shore, Timothy Snyder, and Jason Stanley. Like Timothy Snyder's a big name, a big hitter. If you've never heard him before, you'll probably start to pick out his name. He gets mentioned a lot in a lot of stuff. Have made their careers studying authoritarianism across the globe. Oh, that's why they're experts. Oh, you see, they're experts. At least MSNBC kind of gives us a little bit of a peek behind the curtain because they've studied their career studying it. Oh, okay. She spent her career studying the Russian language and apparently can't communicate it well. Let's see. The situation is so dire they decided to leave the country. They're facing America's facing a democratic emergency. So this is basically
we already covered this.
To answer the question, what is it that they're freaking like? What are the messages?
Well, it's a hit piece. That's all it is. Like they're democratic operatives, and so is the New York Times. Basically, all this bunch is trying to do is wait out Trump. They want to wait out Trump for 4 years and hope that a Democrat wins, and then they'll be able to bring everything back. That's the plan with this.
So that's Ukraine's plan, right? That's the Ukraine plan.
Yeah, that's everybody. That's Europe's plan. That's the Democrats' plan. Like all these guys, that is the plan. How do we tread water for 4 years and try to limit the damage that they perceive Trump will do? And then Trump will have everything bollocksed up after 4 years. whatever Democrat we throw out will win, and then we're just going to get back to a hegemon. But, you know, clearly that's not going to work. The world has moved on from all this stuff. They just don't realize it yet.
Yeah. So, speaking of moving on, I'm surprised that video took us that long. That's insane. That's impressive. That was probably, honestly, a huge dose of 2 scoops of crazy. That wasn't even 2 scoops of crazy. That was just scoop upon scoop upon. So it was 7 minutes of constant, just what do you call it? Like the funnel, the beer funnel they do in college. It's like that.
Yeah.
It's like it was 7 minutes of that. All right, so let's see. This Hungarian Pravda. Let's go. More than 1 million Hungarians voted in a referendum on Ukraine's accession to the European Union. Democracy, right? You would have thought. More than 1 million Hungarians voted in a referendum on Ukraine's accession to the European Union, was stated by Orban. This may be more than everybody expected, but I still urge everyone to cast their vote if they still haven't done so yet. So it's got massive turnout, apparently. Orban noted that the pressure in Brussels is increasing. It is becoming more difficult to protect Hungary's interests. Earlier, the Hungarian Prime Minister called on citizens to vote against Ukraine's accession into the EU. The referendums had been held in the Republic since April 14th, 2025. The vote is being held to find out whether Hungarians support Kiev's European integration. The results are planned to be summed up in June and sent to Brussels. So, what's going on? Average Hungarians don't want to vote to let the Ukrainians into the EU. And, I mean, this article doesn't go into it. It's kind of a short article, but part of the reason is somebody did some calculations. Apparently they have economists that do calculations over there. Maybe we need to like start sending our economists to Hungarian economy schools, because they did some calculations and they were like, listen, so the cost of living is going to go up by like, I don't know, some like 2% a year, every year for like whatever period of time. That's going to amount to a disaster over time. So no, Ukraine is a basket case country, especially right now. Even before the war, it was a little bit, not everybody in the EU was happy about Ukraine's potential as an agricultural supergiant.
They're all two-faced. All of these Eastern European countries, when it comes to Ukraine, are two-faced.
Not just Eastern European, Western European too. They're more two-faced than us Americans. We're not even that two-faced, except for
at least the Western European nations, at least they're more kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, upfront about what they're using Ukraine for. But then you've got these Baltic little chihuahuas, and you got the Poles, and you got the Romanians or whatever, and they kind of frame themselves in some ways as being, brothers with the Ukrainians and all that crap. None of that's true. They all hate the Ukrainians more than anybody.
That's the thing, dude. That's the crazy thing.
And if there was a vote like this one in Hungary or in Poland or in Estonia, like it's one thing to say, yes, we support the Ukrainians to die so we don't have to. Like, that's one thing. But then ask the same person, do you want to let Ukrainian farming products into your country? No, screw that.
Right,
So
exactly. So
it's the Eastern Europeans who are the most two-faced.
Well, here's the thing. The first economic deal before the Maidan started, part of the reason it fell apart for several reasons, right? The Russians really did play it kind of smart, but Paul Manafort, I think it's Manafort, blames it on Merkel, where Merkel was saying, like, was paranoid exactly about this thing, letting in a agricultural supergiant, a potential industrial supergiant, a country with massive amounts of not just resources, but also potential, right? So she was insistent on setting God damn, dude. This is hilarious. I can think of the word in Russian, not in English right now. Uslovia. Terms. God damn, dude, that's hilarious. Thinking about that crazy lady. Anyway, sorry. So she's had these harsh terms towards Ukraine because Germany was not going to be losing their position of privilege, economic privilege. Like Germany's been one of the big winners of the EU. So they were like, oh yeah, if we're going to let Ukraine in, it's going to be on our terms. Everybody wants Ukraine's natural gas and their other shit. What they don't want is extra competitors, right? And what also, let's be fair, yes, Ukraine is has like really amazing soil and all this stuff, but are there farming practices in the most corrupt country in Europe? Are their farming practices going to be up to snuff for European standards? Before the war, most Ukrainian grain shipped to the EU ended up feeding pigs. They used that grain to feed their livestock. So it's already kind of like they're a little bit picky about what it is that they're going to be putting into their bread anyway. And I don't know if Ukrainian stuff, especially if it's going to be owned by like a bunch of venture capital companies, and they're going to be putting everything into there. GMOs, who the heck cares whatever your laws are over there in Europe, in the EU. Anyway, so this is what I guess Hungarian propaganda is saying, right?
Well, it just goes to show, like, goes back to our previous discussion. Democracy is dying everywhere, and the EU, look no closer than the EU, and you'll see it.
Well, this is the latest freaking example, and boy, this is a freaking doozy. Okay, so of course, Kiev independent.
Eventually, like countries like Hungary, they're just going to leave the EU, right? Because what's the benefit of being in some block where you don't have a voice heard, right?
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy with like, anyway. We just got to hear, Ukrainians, I love the fiery, passionate rhetoric. Council of European Union will hold a hearing regarding the potential loss of Hungary's voting rights at a meeting on May 27th, according to the agenda on Council's web portal. Article 7 procedures allows for the suspension of council voting rights if a member of the state consistently breaches EU founding principles.
What does that even mean? And who determines it, right? I think that, what is an EU founding principle, and more importantly, who determines what a consistent breach of said principles are, and who determines whether it's a breach or not?
Exactly.
This whole thing is a joke.
Very sharp observation, because that's exactly what the actual debate is. Kiev independent is just asserting their side, right? But no, but that's the side that nobody hears. That side, though. You picked it up by reading this propaganda. But anyway, hearing comes as the EU looks for ways to override the Budapest if it vetoes Ukraine's accession to the bloc. EU High Representative Kaja Kallas said that Brussels has alternative plans in the event that Hungary attempts to obstruct Ukraine's candidacy. We've got Plan B and a Plan C.
I'd like to know what Plan B and C are, to be honest, because...
Well, they put more thought into it than Ukraine, that's for sure, because they didn't seem to have a Plan B and a Plan C for Ukraine. So, I mean...
But what is Plan B?
For the war, rather. For the war in Ukraine.
Like, my understanding of the EU, and I'm by no means an expert, but I was under the impression that a lot of the voting, had to be unanimous, right? So if that is the case, how would you limit Hungary's vote under this whatever Article 7? I go back to, how do you determine that? And furthermore, let's assume it does get determined and they vote, Hungary out of voting rights. Well, I go back to, Hungary will just say, okay, thanks, we're just going to have to leave the EU now, right? Like,
yeah, dude, they're making it happen. They're pushing him out.
And then
this is hilarious.
Slovakia will be the next, and then eventually Italy, and
I think
eventually
Slovakia. I think Slovakia was one of the countries that said that they would veto Hungary if there were like Article 7
Sure.
Deliberations versus Hungary, because they could see through the bullshit. This is a really interesting paragraph. This is just too rich, man, for the Kiev Independent to write. Mass protests broke out in Budapest on May 18th in response to a controversial bill that would grant the government sweeping powers to investigate, penalize, or even ban media outlets and non-governmental organizations receiving foreign funding. The bill, proposed by a member of Orban's ruling Fidesz party, Fidesz party, is similar to Russia's restrictive foreign agents law. So I love how, like, they're going to talk about the Russian foreign agents law instead of talking about the fact that Ukraine banned all the freaking media, as if they're going to penalize and even ban media. That's what you guys do, you freaking pieces of crap, you pieces of shit. It's like what is they're accusing the other side exactly what they're doing. Like, literally, if you take what they write, like Kiev Independent, if you take what they write and you just flip it upside down, like assume that everything they're saying is backwards, you're probably going to be closer to the truth than if you actually take what they say seriously. Okay, anyway. So Kiev, this is Ukraine's reading of it. Where are we here? No, we already saw that. Now, what does BBC want to know? What has Hungary's Orban got against Ukraine? Oh, it's not the fact that Ukraine is going to completely screw up the economies of not just Hungary. It would be screw up the economies of a bunch of other countries in the EU, and their voters are smart enough. Go.
Might also be the bunch of Ukrainian or Hungarians they killed back in the day.
Right. Or the Hungarians.
That's a reason.
Right, or the Hungarians that they freaking forcibly mobilized, which was didn't go over well in Hungary. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot. This is an ancient part of the world. People have grievances against each other. Okay, Hungarian Prime Minister Orban warned he could pull a handbrake on the future financial aid to Ukraine after slapping a veto of $50 billion EU package intended to help his neighbors survive the next 3 years. Look at that framing. Orban, your neighbor, will you help him survive the freezing winter? All that he needs is a small donation of $50 billion or 50 billion euros. For a small donation, 50 billion euros, I can make it maybe if I penny pinch for the next 3 winters. It's not the first time he stood in the way of his European Union colleagues during their best to help Kiev through Russia's full-scale war. God damn, dude, I didn't expect BBC to be more on fire than freaking Kiev Independent. However, he did grudgingly let Ukraine and Moldova start formal negotiations on joining the EU without actually supporting the idea. By walking out of the room, he allowed the other 26 leaders to vote for it unanimously. So they're trying to set a precedent, whatever. So, okay. So what is Viktor Orban's problem with Ukraine? This is not even a binary. They're not even saying, like, does Orban hate Ukraine? They're telling you, Viktor Orban, he's got a problem with Ukraine, dude. This guy's got problems with Ukraine, and we're going to talk about what they are. He argues his position is both pragmatic and constructive, although there's clearly personal antipathy between him and Ukraine's president, Volodymyr Zelensky. So you should probably get, I don't know if you can start queuing up the other R2 scoops or 4 scoops or not, but I guess we're probably going to end on this story because it's already, we only got like 15 minutes left. While other EU leaders queue up at Brussels summit to have their photos taken with the Ukrainian leader, Mr. Orban turns away. Gosh,
and
dude.
How good does he look now for doing that?
Right? He looks like he was right. Right? Last weekend, Mr. Zelensky was locked in intense conversation with Orban, with 2 men attended the inauguration of Argentina's new president. Ukrainian president said he asked for one reason why Hungary was blocking Ukraine's EU membership. Orban seems rather more at ease with Vladimir Putin than Mr. Zelensky and is the Russian leader's closest ally in the EU. So at this point in time, the typical BBC audience is so brainwashed that you can just say, Vladimir Putin supports that. It's like that Pascal from Neutrality Studies always says, I don't know what the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs needs to just like come out and start putting out mathematical and physical facts, like E = mc², just to see what'll happen, like really drive people for a loop. because like this whole thing where everything that as soon as it's tainted by Vladimir Putin, the fact that there's somebody in the EU that was willing to and try to reach across the aisle and talk to Vladimir Putin and Zelensky too. It's not like he was only talking to Vladimir Putin, right? He was trying to make peace between them. No, sullied, dirtied. And the Brits have never tried to make peace with the Russians, never tried to like make any kind of overtures. Hungary never wanted to confront Russia. Hungary has always been eager to expand contacts. Russian state TV quoted him as telling Mr. Putin when they held talks in Beijing in October. Reports suggest he even adopted Mr. Putin's term for the war, military operation. Look at this indictment. Hungary has been eager to expand contacts. Hungary has never wanted to confront Russia. Hungary has always been eager to expand contacts. That is an indictment of Orban. They're saying, see, look, he said that. He said that he does not want to confront Russia. How much? You must be so beyond the pale if you really... Okay. The sight of an EU leader shaking hands with Vladimir Putin angered Orban's Western allies. The U.S. ambassador to Budapest complained. What about Witkoff shaking Putin's hand? Did that anger Western allies? And remember how they got angry when Putin sat across the table from Macron. They were angry when he was too far. Angry when he was too close? I don't know. Hungary's prime minister argues Ukraine cannot win the war, should be persuaded by its allies to seek an immediate ceasefire followed by negotiations. That is not a pro-Russian position. That is just an obvious, that's the most vanilla, most baseline, middle of the road, obvious common sense position that every analyst that is objective is basically saying right now at this point. He warned in the summit that Ukraine's counteroffensive would fail, and he was proved right. That's right, BBC, he was. He has opposed EU sanctions on Russian oil and gas and refused to allow...
They don't follow up with it on that. Like, they don't follow up that sentence with, if only Ukraine had listened to Viktor Orban.
When he told them they couldn't win the war.
Hundreds of thousands of young men would still have their legs or they'd be alive. Like, the BBC doesn't get to that part, right? They should, but they don't.
Okay. Yeah, dude, sorry. I wasn't reading the private chat. I was reading freaking the news articles and watching the video. I'm not bad. So, okay. This is the last article and then 2 scoops or 4 scoops and then we're out, right? Is that good? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Senior Hungarian diplomat told the BBC the conflict in Ukraine was an inter-Slav civil war. So it's not even, this isn't Orban. This is some opinion of some diplomat. Who even knows if that's his opinion? He told the BBC the conflict was an who even knows? Like, this is not even, this is worse than an anonymous source told me. This is like an anonymous source said something and I'm not even, they didn't even tell me. Like, this wasn't even meant to be printed. I just heard something. You don't even know. You don't know anything about the context, nothing, right? Hungary has not been indifferent to the effects of Russia's invasion. Has provided considerable humanitarian aid, helped hundreds of thousands of Ukrainian refugees on their way to other EU countries. About 25,000 remain in Hungary, and received state support.
I love that you skipped over it. You skipped over it. It's my favorite line.
Mr. Orban
claims that history often proves him right.
He claims
literally 2 paragraphs above.
Allegedly.
You talk about but literally like 2 paragraphs above, they talk about Orban being right.
Bro, it's your own article. It's your own.
It's in the same article. But anyway, keep going.
God damn, dude.
That's the BBC. Like, forget about the BBC, guys. Like, why are we even showing these guys? The
British
BBC,
broadcasting
clowns with a printed copy.
Dude, I think that the Ukraine war and maybe COVID really broke a lot of brains in these established, especially British media places like BBC and Reuters. I mean, they've always been that way a little bit, but god damn, dude, it seems like, well, okay, and also, of course, they're going to treat Russia specially. Like, they're always going to be really vehemently Russophobic, but he points, yeah, dude, yep. Mr. Orban claims, he points out that even his fiercest critics during the migration crisis of 2015, 2016 are now quietly adopting his policies. Yeah, that would happen when history proves you right. You see, what happens is eventually people have to adopt your policies because they were right, including building fences and trying to outsource asylum countries to countries outside and claims to countries outside Europe, including to Rwanda. Okay. Since 2017, Orban has been at loggerheads with Kiev over Ukrainian education law, which made it increasingly difficult to study Hungarian in Ukrainian schools. What has Hungary's Orban got against Ukraine? I don't know, man. The Russians started a war over this shit. Playing tough, Mr. Orban blocked meetings of the NATO-Ukraine Commission. Ahead of the week's EU summit, Ukraine passed a new law guaranteeing the right of Hungarians and other EU nationalities to speak and study in their own languages.
But not Russians.
Yeah, right. Unofficial, because I think Russians are not a minority or something like this.
Well, they're not part of the EU, but you see why that's written that way?
Oh, I mean in Ukraine, but yeah.
Yeah, basically they're saying, yeah, you can speak your national language in Ukraine if you're from another EU country, but not Russia. Like they don't spell out, all countries. You know what I mean?
Yeah, unofficial estimates suggest only 50,000 ethnic Hungarians remain in Ukraine, and hostility toward them is growing. Every time Orban opens his mouth, our situation gets worse, one former supporter of the Hungarian Prime Minister's hardline told the BBC in Mukachevo, a center of Hungarians in the Transcarpathian province of Ukraine. Former supporter. It's not even a Hungarian. You don't know. This is not even telling you who the hell. This could be some kind of like Western NGO dude who's like, yeah, dude, I used to support Orban.
How would it get worse, and why, and how would that be because?
Well, he means worse for them. He means worse for the ethnic Hungarian community in Ukraine.
No, I get it, but I still don't understand why. Like,
Ukrainians are freaking being racist to them because they're losing the war and they're getting desperate and they have to mobilize people, and Hungarians are not happy about Ukrainians forcibly mobilizing the ethnic Hungarians. So there's a little bit of tension. But okay, let's do our 4 scoops. Hopefully it works. Yeah, we are off to already kind of not a good start. But even though we were able to hunt down the scoops of crazy, that was a massive dose of freaking crazy that we had today. 7 minutes.
All right, first one's up.
All right, where is it? Here we go. Here we go.
Oh, I got you, bro.
Can you full screen it?
Bro. What's up? Bro. Me and the homies trying to get drunk tonight. Oh my God.
Rewind it from the start.
What's the problem? I just moved down from Maryland. The boys about to get drunk, so you need my ID?
No, I don't gotta scan it. Just show me your birthday.
Oh, I got you, bro.
I don't gotta scan it. He always gotta. That's his ID.
What's up? Bro. Me and the homies trying to get drunk tonight.
Me and the homies are trying to get drunk.
What's the problem? Bro. I just moved down from Maryland. This guy here from Maryland. Whoa. I got the hair trimmed off and the mustache shaved.
Oh my God.
What's wrong with it? What's wrong with it? It's me. Me and the boys trying to get crunk tonight. Let's go. It's my ID. I can't use it here or what?
Bro, no.
I haven't had any issues anywhere else. This is mine. Bakary Kake.
What's his name?
Can't even pronounce the name.
The boys about to get drunk, so. You need my ID?
No, I don't gotta scan it. Just show me your birthday.
Oh, I got you, bro.
Okay, that's the first one.
He couldn't even pronounce the name. Me and the boys are trying to get drunk. Yeah, shave the hair. That takes some balls there. Maybe he was hoping that they would know and just not care. I don't know how else could you try to pass that off. I've never used a fake ID, so I don't know.
Nah, me neither.
I guess I'm boring. All right, let's go next video.
About something that happened. Yeah, I was called sir. Oh, okay. It just really sucks every time it happens. I don't need to be called ma'am. I just need to not be called sir. You know? Thank you.
What are they? Okay.
Can you call me sir? Hey, I just want to tell you that the person who gave me this called me sir. Called me
Bro.
sir.
This is worse than Karen's.
It's just like it kind of just hurts a lot to get called.
This
sir.
guy out Karen's or
Very
or
good.
sorry, ma'am.
So much. No. Oh, yeah. Thank you. I'm not a sir. Nothing like a good misgendering. It is a knife in the gut when I get called sir. I feel like I need to tell him. I need to tell him.
I feel like I
that
think you
hurts.
want to tell
It
everybody.
hurts more though, and it's not intentional because it means like this is sir to him. I know you didn't mean it, but I'm not a sir. I'm so sorry. It's okay. I know you didn't mean it. It's just, it hurts. I know when people clock me, it's fine.
What the hell?
Thank you. I'm not sir.
I'd be like, okay, buddy.
God damn, dude, this it's just
Not
so.
sir. Not sir. But the guy who dropped the food off, he called me sir twice in a row.
Oh, him know that, and
What if freaking English isn't his first language, bro? Okay, wait. Can you rewind to like about maybe the last right before he puts on the French outfit, right before the French outfit, like probably like around so around right here. So like this video. Play it from here.
Sir, I'm so sorry. It's okay. I know you didn't mean it. It's just it hurts. I know when people clock me, it's fine, but like it does kind of hurt. Thank you.
Okay, no, rewind more, a little bit more. Right before that one, then.
Must I?
Okay, fine, no, whatever. Basically, what I was going to point out.
I'd rather not look at this guy any more than I have to.
Right.
Nothing like
okay, right here.
Misgendering. It is.
It is nothing like it. It is an F in the gut when you get called sir.
I need to tell him. I need to tell him.
Oh my gosh.
That hurt. It hurts more.
Okay,
it's
this
not
part.
Intentional because it means like this is sir to him. I know you
Okay,
didn't
pause
mean
that.
it, but
Pause
I'm
that. Pause
not a
that.
sir. I'm so sorry. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't want to look at this anymore either. But yeah, it hurts more. Not sir said because this doesn't do it for them. They were like they were not even trying to be rude to me. They weren't trying to be offensive to me. I was just going out of my way to be a piece of shit to them. They just assumed because I look like a dude. I'm sorry, you look like a dude wearing lipstick. I'm sorry. I don't know if you're born in the wrong body. Maybe not every transgender person has the financial ability to really live out their transgender dreams and get their face and voice adjusted or whatever it is, or maybe they don't want to, whatever it is like that. Maybe it's just more important for you in your soul. But if it's more important for you in your soul, then why the hell are you being upset that other people are innocently misperceiving you, misgendering you, as you're saying?
Well, keep in mind, I think these videos are old because I remember seeing this guy before.
How old?
This is all done at least a year, if not longer.
Still, point stands. If it's a year, it's the point stands.
Right, but I guess my point is like all of this is done now. Like we don't have to worry about this guy anymore. We don't have to worry about these people anymore. Woke is dead. This whole transgender fuckery, that's all dead. Like the world rejected it. All the back end Democrats and stuff, they all realize now that they picked a real loser with this whole woke ideology. They're never going to resurrect it. It was a big reason why Trump won. The exit poll showed that. So this weird guy, he's fucked off somewhere. You're never going to hear from him again.
Like
that's the one good thing I see of the Trump presidential win was the end of woke. Like to me, him getting elected was worth that.
At least they got to stick to it. We got at least a little bit of the Molotov cocktail through the White House at the assholes effect. Okay, well, I guess let's wrap up there. I do have more to say about that, but whatever. Let's wrap it up. There's too much that can be said. So that would be our episode 22 of Hell in a Handbasket. I can't believe I screwed it up. But we will be seeing you guys, if not on open mic, which I was not able to make the last open mic. I was listening to it, but I wasn't able to make it. If we don't see you on open mic, we'll see you guys here. All right. Peace.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Wait, how the hell do I end recording? I totally forgot. Oh, there you go.